Hi guys, this is Nietzsche. This is the second video in a series of shorts dedicated to what I've learned in the Diablo 4 PTR, which recently ended. In this vid, I will focus on the new upgrading system for your armor, weapons, and jewelry, including the new Codex of Power. Let's talk about loot. There are a reduced number of affixes now, only 3 on legendary items and 2 on rare items. World Tier 3 drops only Sacred and World Tier 4 only Ancestral. Any legendary item dropped from an enemy level 95 plus will always be 925 item power. That's great news. Some uniques will now drop starting in World Tier 1 and 2. All uniques will drop in World Tier 3. Uber uniques can start dropping from monster level 55 and are at 925 item level. Make sure to keep a lookout for these shiny little stars next to your affixes. Each star indicates a greater affix with a 1.5 times multiplier on the affix's maximum roll. The greater affixes only appear on ancestral, legendary, and unique items. Each affix on an item has a chance to be greater in World Tier 3 and 4. Players cannot enchant into a greater affix, they can only be found. I found several items with 1 greater affix, a few with 2, and only this one in all 3. Rarely were they the affixes that I was looking for. Alright, so let's get into what's new with the Codex of Power. Your Codex of Power has a new look. You'll notice at the top there is 1 tab for your aspects and 1 for tempering recipes. Even though the aspects tab is my absolute favorite change in Season 4, I'll go into that in the next video. For now, we're going to focus on the tempering recipes. While gathering loot from most in-game content, you'll come across a new item called Temper Manual. When you find one, it'll appear in your inventory just like this. Hovering over the manual will show you a list of its new affixes available to you. Right-click on the manual to learn the affixes. They will now appear in your Codex of Power under Tempering Recipes. These tempering recipes are new custom affixes that can be applied to your items. To do this, visit the blacksmith. You will find a new tab called Tempering. In the Tempering panel, you'll find a window to place an item to be tempered. Tempering adds 1 affix to your rare and legendary items that are not ancestral. Ancestral items can have 2 additional affixes. So now you understand why loot is dropping with 1 less affix when compared to the previous seasons. There are 6 categories in the tempering panel to choose from: weapons, offensive, defensive, utility, mobility, and resource. Here I've placed my focus into the tempering panel. Because it's ancestral, the panel shows that I can have up to 2 categories. So far in the game, I've only found recipes in 2 categories: weapons and offensive. If we look at my offensive category, we see that I have only located the manuals for natural finesse, shock finesse, and frost finesse. I want to select the frost finesse for my build. Out of the 5 affixes shown, cold damage, vulnerable damage, and damage to frozen are all good. Once I click on Frost Finesse, you'll see that Frost Finesse is indicated under my item as one of my 2 choices. This temper will cost me 10 iron chunks, 20 veiled crystals, and 2 baleful fragments. You can see now where the salvaged rares will become necessary. Click on the Temper Item button to complete the task. An animation will be displayed. You can instead choose to skip the animation. Upon completion, 1 random of the 5 affixes will be applied at varying degrees of possible rolls. I happen to roll an 85% damage to frozen enemies. Taking a look at my item, I can see the new affix indicated by an anvil next to it, and it has rolled max level. Even though I would have rather had cold damage or vulnerable damage, I'll take it and move on to my second affix. The panel now shows that I already have an offensive affix on my item. If I choose to use offensive again, it will replace the current offensive affix and I will lose my 85% damage to frozen enemies. So instead, I will choose the only other category I have, weapons. In the weapons category, the only manual I'm interested in is Frost Augments. Out of the 4 possible recipes, there's only one that will help my build: chance for frozen orb projectiles to cast twice. Clicking on Frost Augments loads it into my tempering panel. I temper and get blizzard size. This is no help, so I have to try again. I select Frost Augments like before, but now I see this at the bottom of the panel. Existing affix will be replaced. Temper rolls 5. This means that after tempering your first affix in each category allowed, 2 for ancestral and 1 for all others, you only have 5 additional rolls to get it right. Many agree that this is ridiculous and must be changed in some way, because in the upcoming season far less loot will drop, but the affixes will be much stronger. So the perfect item that finally dropped after hours and hours of gaming becomes a useless brick if you're not able to get the roll that you need for your build in the 5 remaining tries. And you have absolutely no control over it. I try again and get Frostbolt. This is no help. Now I have 4 rolls left to change what I don't like. I roll and get blizzard size again. This is no good. I keep trying. This time I roll frostbolt. Still not what I want. I have 2 rolls left. I try again. Ice shards. This is not looking good. I have one last try. Luckily, I get what I'm after. Frozen orb with a near max 16.5% roll. You'll notice that my focus got kicked out of the panel because it no longer has any available rolls. So you can see how, with the current tempering system in the PTR, it can become very frustrating if you're not able to get the affix needed in the allotted number of rerolls. After successfully tempering your item, you can head over to the occultist to enchant if you need to upgrade one of your original affixes. I'm recommending to enchant after tempering only because if your item turns into a brick, you won't be wasting additional mats and gold on your enchant. The gold cost for re-rolling has been capped when enchanting. Well, that was a lot of information. I felt it necessary. I look forward to seeing you all in the upcoming Season 4. Go team, the real Night's Watch.